With today being Women's Day, we focus on the issue of safety and abuse of the most vulnerable in society, particularly women and children. What should be done to protect them, and what role in general should society be playing in protecting children? To talk to us about this, we're joined by the Deputy Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, Deputy Minister Mmapaseka Steve Letsike. Deputy Minister, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Perhaps as someone who's part of the executive and of course as an office bearer, I'm going to jump straight into perhaps the most germane question if we're taking stock of what today means to us. Last year, the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide National Strategic Plan and the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide was established. Yet, despite the establishment of these organizations, we've still seen women being killed at unabated rates. 10 women per day on average dying in South Africa. In fact, year to date, between March 2024 and March this year, we've seen more than 5,500 women being killed. What should be our expectation of the National Strategic Plan and the National Council on Gender-Based Violence, given these conditionalities?
Indeed, good evening to you and to the viewers of SABC. Look, indeed, gender-based violence is a very complex issue. And there are many factors that we have to look into. It's not just about the implementation of our laws. We have to go back into dealing with the root cause. And what are those root causes? That speaks to issues of stereotypes, issues of patriarchy, cultural and attitudes that we find men utilize to weaponize that power against women's body and children's body. And some of the legal mechanisms that we have put as South Africa are the ones that needs to effectively be implemented. And implementation doesn't happen at national level. It happens at local level, at community level. What the role of police and where we've seen, even with the 90-day plan that we have had for the last 3 months, where we've seen police, National Prosecuting Authority, unlocking that backlog that we have. Part of what we expect with the law is implementation, it's prevention, but also ultimately it's about justice for the victims of violence.
Gender-based violence is but one problem in South Africa. If we couple it with other socio-economic factors and conditionalities women face in this country, we have to look at the gender pay gap in South Africa. Women for the same job, in the same role, same amount of experience, still earn 20% less than their male counterparts. There is no legislative instruments I've seen that addresses very specifically the gender pay gap. Maybe because too much of our mental real estate has been spent on thinking about gender-based violence and femicide that we've forgotten about the gender pay gap. What level of thinking is taking place in government around addressing specifically that?
No, indeed, you are quite correct, because part of this, when you speak about gender-based violence, the other issue is that economic disparities that exist. And one must not ignore that a number of issues of inequality, but also it's about the power struggle and that exists. In fact, the pay gap that we see that exists, it's in the private sector, an institution outside the public sector. The public sector has reached it. And we've seen with the report that we launched in February, which is the status of women, private sector is not doing very well in terms of addressing that. So it's something that as cabinet through President Ramaphosa has actually asked us to look into paying attention in terms of why are institutions in private sector and also outside the public sector, are they not meeting that gender pay gap? Why are we relegating women into lower paying jobs and we're only going to have a few that occupy positions of management or even of leadership of those institutions? So that's what we're going to be doing. But at the same time, what really needs to be at play here, we have put laws around empowerment and development of women. It is this kind of resistance that we are seeing, and part of it is patriarchy, where you do not want to share and you do not want to create opportunities for women. And we need to see that every institution in our country must meet those challenge of empowerment and ensuring gender equality. It's very close, but we're getting there.
Part of the criticism that this administration and the administrations before that has been facing, specifically given that President Ramaphosa had put together a National Commission on Gender-Based Violence, is that that commission, that body, is merely but an advisory body with no teeth that can't do anything, specifically because it hasn't been sufficiently capitalized. Are we not putting our money where our mouths are when it comes to the protection of women and children?
Look, protection of women and children is not going to be done by the commissions or councils itself. That means that men must stop. Who are the perpetrators? They are in our homes, they are in our
I
churches,
mean,
they
yeah,
are
we've
in our
addressed that, but
schools
the
and so
question
forth.
is government putting money behind all of the solutions and initiatives that it brings about? Part of the criticism is that it's not doing enough of that to be able to, for instance,
I think
train police officers in dealing with sensitivity when it comes to gender-based violence cases.
let's put the figures. We spend about 45 billion annually to respond to gender-based violence. This is money that can be redirected to economic opportunities to address the issue of poverty. So I don't think it's quite correct or fair to say we are not putting much more. Yes, much more money is needed to support work that is done by civil society, NPOs and others, including training policies,
Yeah.
including ensuring that we have social workers. But we are not going to sustain this response if we focus on response and reaction as opposed to proactive. The first thing we need to do is prevention. We shouldn't be spending so much money on gender-based violence except spending money on economic growth and opportunities that uplift everybody, including men themselves.
Yeah, Deputy Minister, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Deputy Minister Mmapaseka Steve Letsike is the Deputy Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. We're going to take a short break. On the other side of this, we continue with the late edition.